Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today I want to talk to you about my cost per wear plans for 2026. I mentioned in my goals video, my wardrobe goals video for this year, that I wanted to have a cost per wear focus this year. And what I mean by that is I wanted to look at my current state, what is my current cost per wear, and pick a number that I wanted to get it down to. And I spent some time over the New Year's period, or right before New Year, and also on New Year's Eve actually, setting up my tracking for this, or looking into my historical cost per wear to give me a baseline for the year. I used a template made by Megan over at Activism. I can link her website down below, but I have tweaked that since to work a little better for my wardrobe and what I needed to do. For example, I have 2.5 years of wearing stats that I wanted to put in to the document, to the spreadsheets, but I also want to be able to track from this point forward in the spreadsheets. So I have made some tweaks to make it work better for me and my situation, but it was a good starting point. So I will leave the website link down below. What this revealed to me was actually a little bit surprising. At the start of the new year, which I'm tracking this for the entirety of 2026 and quite possibly beyond, but I'm tracking it for 2026, the average for all of my items, like everything I've paid for all my items divided by all of the wears of all of my items, comes out to 38 Swedish kronor. That is about $4 and about 3 British pounds and about 350 euro. I will have today's conversion rates on the screen for you right now. And this was surprising to me. It was higher than I thought it was going to be. But when I sat with it for a bit, I was like, well, the thrifting I did in Japan, which I keep talking about, I feel like, in recent videos, was quite expensive. And I'm not faulting Japan entirely. I did do a lot of thrifting in general in 2025, and a lot of those pieces, like I mentioned in this video, have only gotten one wear, which means that if it was a relatively expensive piece, the cost per wear for that item is still high. I do also want to say though that I've been tracking my wears of my items for the past 2.5 years in wearing. Prior to that, I hadn't tracked my wearing of anything at all, ever, really. And I do have some pieces that I got prior to getting wearing that I have worn prior to tracking that I now don't have an accurate number for. There aren't that many of them anymore because my size has changed, my body has changed, but I do still have some. However, some of those were also items I got for free. For example, I have this dress, which is currently set aside in my wardrobe because I need to mend it a bit and add some buttons. But this dress I got from a coworker from when she was young, and I got it from her in 2014. And it's currently, like I said, on hiatus in my wardrobe because it needs some buttons reattached and I haven't gotten to that yet. And it's a very summery piece, so I'm not about to wear it tomorrow anyway. But that was free to me when I got it, but I've had it every year since 2014, which is over 10 years. And I have gotten a fair amount of wear out of it every summer, especially in the beginning. The last couple of years, a little bit less, but definitely in the beginning. But that being free also means that the cost per wear is already 0, and I can't have a negative cost per wear. I'm not going to count like that. I also don't have the accurate sums for every single item in my wardrobe. There are about 150 items in my wardrobe, and I've only tracked clothes. I have not tracked shoes, I've not tracked accessories, I've not tracked bags, which I guess is an accessory. And there are also some pieces I've never even put into my wearing. For example, my winter coat. I've had this for, I think, 2 winters at this point, possibly 3, and it's a great coat. I got it secondhand and I didn't put it into my wearing because I don't tend to track my outerwear, but that is the coat that I have worn pretty much every single day of every single winter since I had it. And I think it was about 900 Swedish kronor, which was expensive, but it's a wool coat and it's a vintage coat. And I got it from a curated store, which hikes up the prices a little bit, but I love this. I would pay that money again for it. But say I've only had it for 2 years. Say I got it in October 2024, and then I've worn it for the winter 24 and 25, and winter 25, and now 26. And I do think it's a year older than that. I have worn it many a time, and the cost per wear should be very low at this point. But that never got tracked in my wearing because, again, I don't tend to input my outerwear, and so I don't have an accurate cost per wear for it. I also don't have a fully accurate cost per wear for everything in my wardrobe. For the last 2 years, so 2024 and 2025, I have written down exactly what I have paid for things, including potential shipping. And so I've had like green t-shirt this much, blue shirt this much. Like I've tracked every single item like that. But if we go back further, pieces I've had for longer than those 2 years, usually I just have in my spreadsheet where I do my budgeting, I usually just have like the store name and then clothes, or the store name shirt. And I don't actually remember every item I bought, like when I got them, what store and what they were. And that is fair. I think that's reasonable. But for those items, which was about a third, I want to say, of the items in my wardrobe, I have gone with an average. So I've looked at what do I usually pay for button downs. Okay, this is the average. I'll put that in, or roughly that in. Or I've had a hunch, like, oh, I think this was around this, and then I've put that in. So it's never going to be 100% accurate, but it's good enough, and good enough will have to do. But I said at the beginning of the video that my starting point on average is 38 Swedish kronor. And my most expensive categories are culottes, which is fair because I own 2 pairs, one of which I got prior to wearing and wore more prior to getting wearing. They are fitting more snug these days and I don't wear them as often, but I think the cost per wear for them is definitely lower than it now says in my spreadsheet. Because I've had them for longer than I've tracked them for, even though I have the accurate price for them because I was able to find the receipt of when I ordered those from a secondhand website, the cost per wear for them should be lower because I've worn them before. And my second pair of culottes is this pair of wool remake culottes that I got in Japan in the spring of 2025. The wool ones have nowhere near as many views as the other ones, especially if you consider the fact that the other ones I've worn for many more wears than is actually tracked. But now is the season. It's very wintry outside as of me filming this on January 3rd, and I am gonna get much more wear out of these. And I really do want to make an effort to style these more. I find winter styling to be more difficult usually than summer styling. Summer styling is much easier for me. It's thinner fabrics, it's fewer items usually, and it's just airier, flowier materials. Winter is always heavier materials and it's colder outside and the cold is a little bit miserable and all of that fun stuff added in. But I really do want to and do need to make an effort to wear the culottes more. Second on this list is skirts, which is a little bit surprising to me because I feel like I wear skirts a lot. However, I have outgrown a lot of my previous skirts. They are no longer in my wardrobe, and I acquired a number of new skirts in 2025. That means that the cost per wear of the skirts actually in my wardrobe is higher. Partly some skirts were expensive, but also there are so many new skirts that were purchased new and worn not 50 times each, and so the cost per wear is still kind of high. Next up is blazers, which isn't very surprising to me. The latest one I have is this one, which I've only gotten one wear out of so far, and then I have this floral one that I've had for a few years, and I think I got that while I had the app, while I had wearing, so the wears of that should be accurate. And then I also have this one, which is a tailcoat that I do not wear a lot because it's quite a lot. It feels a little bit much, it feels a little bit costumey, and I would like to get over that. Maybe I can wear them with the culottes. That would look good together, but would still be a kind of out there outfit for me. Which is funny to me because it's a black blazer, it's a black tailcoat, sure, but it's just a black blazer. And that just is a lot for me for some reason. But I don't wear blazers a lot. I want to style them in more ways. I don't know if I'll ever be a blazer person, really, but blazers have a quite high cost per wear at the moment. I should not get more of them, and I really should wear the ones I have more, both because I want to style them but also to make the cost per wear of them go down. Next up we have dungarees, of which I have 2 pairs, the ones I'm currently wearing and then these ones from Run and Fly that has axolotls and like underwater creatures on them. And I don't wear dungarees all the time, which is also a reason why this number is still quite high, but also both of these pairs were expensive. I paid around 650 Swedish kronor for each pair, so that is a very big investment cost for me. That is not the cost I tend to spend on individual items very often, and so therefore the cost per wear is still pretty high. However, it's still lower than my skirts cost per wear, and I do tend to gravitate to skirts more often, so maybe that one will be easier to get down than the dungarees ones. We'll see. And the 5th most expensive category for cost per wear currently are vests. And this is a bit surprising and also disappointing to me, because I do say that I like vests, and I do like vests, but I don't wear them super frequently. And if you've seen my most recent video, which will be the tier ranking of my 2025 thrift finds, there were many vests that did not rank very highly. And I really think I need to be more selective with the vests I get. I have not gotten a vest that I in the moment didn't like, but I have apparently gotten vests that I don't actually end up liking and wearing a whole lot. Let's now move on to my cheapest cost per wear category, which surprisingly to me is tank tops. And it's surprising to me because I'm like, I don't wear that many tank tops, and that is still true. However, I own 3. One that I got for free from Teresa when she was doing a wardrobe clear out a number of years ago and asked, hey, do you want this? And I said, yeah, sure. And then it's not a favorite piece, but it was a free and I've worn it a fair number of times, so the cost per wear is, well, 0 because it was free. The second one is this lime green one that I bought for 30 Swedish kronor. And I've worn it 28 times. You can do that math yourself, that the cost per wear is basically nothing at this point. And then the third tank top I have is this cropped one. This I got on a bit of a whim from a clearance section at one of the thrift stores that I go to sometimes. And I don't remember exactly, but it was either 5 or 10 Swedish kronor, and I've tracked it as 10. It hasn't gotten as many wears as the green one or the beige one. However, it was so cheap to begin with that the cost per wear is very, very low. Now for this year, I want a few different things. First of all, I want to be very mindful about what I introduce into my wardrobe. In general, I talked about it a bit in my thrifting stats video and some other videos recently, but basically I feel like I acquired a lot of things last year, many of which, about 35% of them, only got one wear last year because I also have older things that I wanted to wear and that I really like. And also with the cost per wear focus, anything I bring into my wardrobe, unless it's free, unless I get it from someone as a hand-me-down, will increase my cost per wear. And the more I increase it, the harder it's going to be to bring it down to where I want to get it. And I would like my cost per wear, my average cost per wear, to get down to 20 Swedish kronor, which, I'm gonna bring up my notebook again, will be, with today's conversion rates, about $2 US, 1.6 British pounds, and 1.85 euro per item on average. I don't really have a reason for why 20. I just think it sounds kind of nice. I mean, if I could get it down to 10, if I could get it down to 5, like, it would be even better. But I think 20 is a good aim for now. And it was the number I had at the back of my mind as I was setting up the spreadsheet. I was like, I'd like to get to 20. I'd like to get to 20. And then I ended up being at 38 to begin with. But that also means I have something to work with. However, had it already been 20 or like 22 at the start of the year, I would have set a lower goal than 20. Okay, I've been outside shoveling snow for a bit because we've gotten so much snow and it's after 11 p.m. and I really have to go to bed, but I realized I forgot to say something important, so I'm jumping on here to say that now, and then I'll get back to previous me in a moment. I realized that I need to share something about the cost per wear and how it may change negatively, i.e. get more expensive throughout the year, even if I don't shop. That might sound like a contradiction, but when I recently went through my wardrobe to set it up for my Wear Everything experiment in 2026, i.e. I turned all the hangers around and the folded things I've reorganized so it would be easy for me to see what I have worn and what I haven't worn yet in 2026. And I also went through and I removed everything that was in my wearing. I archived everything that was in my wearing that isn't currently in my wardrobe. Part of this was items that I've already parted with or had set aside and have since cleared out that no longer fit me or my style. But part of it was also items that I still own and that I still want to wear and that still fit me as far as I know, but that have been set aside to be mended. Many of them are like buttons that are missing that I need to reattach, but I have some bigger mending projects as well, including this skirt. This is a skirt I've talked about a fair bit. I got it in Japan in the spring of 2025 and it was a little bit small when I got it, and I don't tend to buy things that are too small, not on purpose, but I realized I could pretty easily, I thought, mend it to make it a little bit bigger. That mending not that easy, it turns out, or at least not for me. So I have decided to archive that so it's not taking up a spot in my wearing wardrobe, so I don't have to keep scrolling past it and going, I can't wear that because it's not in my wardrobe. And when I have mended it, I will put it back into rotation. I will unarchive it and put it back in my wearing. And it's only the things that are actively in my wearing that are in my spreadsheets. And so when I unarchive it, I will also put it back in the spreadsheets. And that skirt, for example, and I have one pair of shorts as well that are waiting to be mended, have not been worn. So when I have mended them and I reintroduce them into my wearing, my wardrobe, and also my spreadsheet, the cost per wear will go up even though they aren't new. I mean, they're new, but they're not purchased new in 2026. And that might throw a wrench in my goal a little bit. The skirt was a few hundred Swedish kronor, I think it was around 400 something, which will increase the skirt section a fair bit. Maybe at that point though, I will have worn more skirts and the cost per wear for the skirts and the total cost per wear will at that point be down from what it is now, which is good. But it's unavoidable that the cost per wear will go up when I reintroduce that skirt, those shorts, some other items that I've set aside to be mended. I think it's just that skirt and a pair of shorts though that are set aside that have never been worn. Things that I just removed from my wearing currently as I was going through it because they're waiting to be mended and that I have actually worn before. I have gone through and tracked how many wears I've gotten from them previously. Not all of them have a purchase price in the spreadsheet now because they're in a tab I'm not using, but when they get reintroduced into my wardrobe and my wearing and the spreadsheet, the part of it that actually tracks everything and like calculates things, if they don't currently have a purchase price, I will go through and do what I did previously with guesstimating what I probably paid for them. So this is a thing I realized might throw a wrench in things for me in this plan of getting down to 20 or 30 Swedish kronor, but it's worth it because I want those pieces back in my wardrobe. And like I've stated, I don't even know already now if the math will be mathing. I don't know if it's possible to get my cost per wear down to 20 Swedish kronor. On average, we will see as the year progresses. But I figured it was worth mentioning that the cost per wear, both the total of it, but also per category, might change negatively throughout the year, even if I don't end up purchasing a single thing. Okay, back to previous me. But when we look at this graph, it is a bit skewed. If I keep wearing my tank tops, they'll go down to 0 kind of soon, and great, but it won't affect the overall cost per wear a whole lot. It looks to me, according to this little spreadsheet thing, that I should prioritize my skirts and my blazers and my culottes and the dungarees and the things I talked about that were more expensive. Mathematically, I think that's smart. However, I don't know if I will get every single category down to 20. I haven't done the math for how many more times I have to wear the culottes, for example, to get them down to 20 and whether or not that is reasonable for me to do. Partly because I have other things I want to wear and I don't want to set those things aside and like, oh, I can't wear my favorite pair of pants because I have to wear the culottes. But also because I'm not sure if it's reasonable from a weather and season perspective to get them down to 20, to wear them as many times as I need to get them down to 20. I don't want them to be the only pair of pants or culottes, I suppose, I wear this whole year. I don't want them to be the only bottoms I wear this year because I also have to get my skirts down. I also have pants I want to wear. And so I don't know if it's reasonable to bring those down to 20. I have also shot myself a little bit in the foot here, I think, because if I had named them and tracked them as trousers, they would be combined with my trousers, like the same category, and I think the cost per wear would be different, but I want to keep them separate. Same with the dungarees. They are technically trousers, but I wanted them to be their own category. However, I have not tracked skirts in different ways. I don't have short skirts and midi skirts and long skirts. They're all skirts. So since I'm not sure that I can get everything down to 20, I have a secondary rule where I don't want a single category to be over 30 Swedish kronor at the end of the year. And that will be, with today's conversion rates, about 325 USD, about 240 British pounds, and about 280 euro. And that is like for the upper part of this. The total I want to be down to 20, but the rest of it can be 30. And I don't know if 30 is also too ambitious. I have not done the math. but I want to see where I get. And if there's a category I don't get below 40 or 50, that's fine. There's no punishment for me in this. I do still want to get to wear what I want from my wardrobe, and technically anything I wear should be bringing down the cost per wear in general, unless I wear the items I got for free. And I think I have 3 items currently in my wardrobe that I've gotten for free. 2 hand-me-downs from Teresa and 1 from my mother that I can think of at least. But anything apart from those will bring the cost per wear down. It just might not affect it as much as if I wear the culottes 15 more times. But that is where I'm at the start of the year. And excitingly, I am filming this on the 3rd, so we're 3 days into the year, and my cost per wear has already gone down. Like the total cost per wear has already gone down to 37. And yes, I've worn these culottes today that were expensive when I bought them, and I haven't gotten that many wears out of them. But I did also wear a button down yesterday that I already have gotten many wears out of. Although, to be fair, the majority of the items I have worn the past couple of days I got in 2025, and some of which, like these dungarees and like this sweater, were quite expensive, to be fair. I don't know if I've worn them with the thought at the back of my mind that, oh, if I wear these I bring the cost per wear down, but even so, 3 days in, the cost per wear is already down 1 Swedish krona, which is very, very nice. But that is where I'm starting the year, and I'm excited to see how this goes. I think it will help me be mindful with my purchases. I sure hope so, but I also don't know if I've set the bar too high for the cost per wear I want to reach. Even if I buy no clothes this year, is it possible for me to get to 20? Is it possible for me to have no category be higher than 30? I don't know. Because I do also want to wear the things that I've had in my wardrobe for multiple years and worn plenty of times that now have a low cost per wear already. I don't want to forbid myself from wearing those as frequently as I want to wear them, just because I have to wear the more expensive things to bring down the cost per wear. I am also still doing the Wear Everything challenge this year, which I've done for the past 2 years as well, in which I have to wear everything in my wardrobe at least 1 time. That is a challenge I'm doing. And I've also reflected recently on the fact that I don't want to wear things in my wardrobe just once in a year. It doesn't feel fair to the item. It doesn't feel good to only wear something 1 time. And if I'm not excited and gravitating towards wearing something in my wardrobe more than once in a year, should it really be in there? I don't know. So there are a lot of factors playing in here, and my biggest concern is that I've set the bar too high, that I won't naturally be able to reach the 20 or the 30. I don't really know how to do the math to establish if this would be doable, so I'm just gonna see how it goes. And yes, I will have the cost per wear relevant, like I will be referring back to it. I'm not going to just track things and not look at the data hopefully going down, but I'm not going to make it my entire focus of the year either to I have to get it down, I have to get it down, I have to get it down, because I do still want to wear what I want to wear. But that is it for this video. I feel like it got very rambly, but I hope that you still got something out of it. I hope that my thoughts and my goal make sense. And I would love to hear in the comments down below, first of all, if you track your cost per wear or if it's something you're interested in starting, if you aren't already doing it. It was actually really fun to set up the spreadsheet, I think, because I'm such a nerd when it comes to statistics. But I would also like to hear in the comments down below if you think I will reach my goal. Because again, I don't know if the math is accurate, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it all goes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon, so I hope to see you then. Bye!